Le'Veon's one of those, I want the ball in the huddle, at the line, and do you as a team overfeed the noisy player to the detriment of the team? And I've seen this in basketball. I've seen it in football. So you can make the argument that they're more balanced without Le'Veon, and they don't feel a need or a burden to give Le'Veon the touches. I've always felt that Eli, I mean, he'll go into games. I saw this with Romo and Dez. It felt like the first quarter, I got to get Dez involved. I got to get Dez, because if I don't...
Well, when you have a high-profile receiver like that, they like to get a few...
A rhythm.
They like to get going, and it's the same with running backs, too. It's hard to put them in cold to get them going. But I don't know. I get the numbers, but and it's no disrespect to James Conner, like I said. It's Le'Veon Bell. Like, there's a reason why he's holding out for all this money.
Yep. Joy Taylor with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
What a show today. In 30 minutes from now, the Blazing Five, which has been on fire. Peter King next hour. But let's bring on a man who I always enjoy a good battle. And he's a Pro Bowler and a Super Bowl champ and a former Packer. And Aaron Sunday night. Greg Jennings, you are a straight shooter. So I said... There's been some what-if guys in the last several years in sports. What if LeBron's first 7 years in Cleveland, they got him one All-Star? What if Andrew Luck wasn't under siege for his first 7 years? Now he's got support. Mm-hmm. What if Aaron Rodgers had Sean Payton or Belichick? He's one of those guys, deep down, you're as honest as anybody I bring on. You cannot tell me that Aaron Rodgers hasn't thought, what if, a couple of times.
We all think what if, but absolutely he's thought what if. No doubt in my mind that Aaron Rodgers has thought, man, if I had Belichick, I would have won. I don't know. I think it's limitless, really. It's one of those things where you look at, and I've heard this, well, Aaron Rodgers' personality wouldn't mesh with Belichick. I 100% disagree with that, because I don't think he and Mike McCarthy's personalities just mesh.
Oh, no, I think they're opposites.
Because you got to understand, when Aaron Rodgers came into the league, when Tom Brady came into the league, they both came in with chips on their shoulder. Like, why? They both felt like they should have been drafted higher. They both felt more about themselves than what obviously the evaluators and the GMs thought. The thing about Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy that people miss sometimes, who was the number 1 overall pick the year Aaron Rodgers came out?
Alex Smith.
Alex Smith. Who was his offensive coordinator?
Mike McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy.
So Mike McCarthy
had something to do, obviously,
with selecting Alex over Aaron.
And so Aaron, I remember being in meetings, and it would just be so random. And Aaron will take a shot at Mike like, oh, yeah, like how you picked Alex Smith. Yeah, okay. like, I mean, that's just – so when you look at that relationship, and
it's always been
something
frosty.
That he – exactly. So, and I think Belichick, with Aaron understanding the respect that he would demand, he would give him that, and he would kind of pull back because of winning. You think Tom Brady doesn't have an ego? He does. You think he doesn't have he does, but winning will suppress some of those things. It's like, you know what? Let me fall back, because we're going to win. I know if there's one thing I can trust this guy to do is win.
No, I think you bring up a great point, is that here's something I know about Aaron, and I don't know Aaron. I've met him. He cares what people think. So he does. Aaron,
you'll never get a chance to really sit down and meet Aaron.
No.
He doesn't like you.
He doesn't like me. That's okay. No, that's okay. A lot of people don't like me. It's okay.
He's not going to come on the couch.
No,
he's not coming on the show. He's not coming.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't like me. That's what I'm totally. I'm really okay with it. I said this morning. He's great. I think he can be a little thin-skinned, a little Kevin Durant. When you get to be a superstar, you're not married, no kids. You go home by yourself in Green Bay. You turn on TV on your phone, and sometimes you can get conspiratorial. And I've noticed this in my business. I've noticed it in sports. Once you have kids, you're married, you're busy, you're off the phone. You just don't have time.
Yeah.
You're just busy as hell. So, and I think Aaron sometimes cooks up some stuff and worries too much about what people think. But he does care what people think, and I think that's not a terrible quality in human beings. And I think that has given him more than time to pause and think, God, what if? They've given him one great defense. It's the year he won the Super Bowl. They've given him no running game for 4 years.
Here's another thing that I think a lot of people miss. When you look at Mike McCarthy and Bill Belichick has been given the option, or not the option, but the authority to where he can make personnel decisions.
Yes.
Mike McCarthy, he's not making personnel decisions. So you have a different dynamic with both of those guys, and they've seen it differently because they've had to handle things differently. They've had to, where Belichick can put the pieces he wants in place.
Yes.
McCarthy has never had that as an option.
You know, the other thing, and I'm guessing here, I don't have this sourced, but Aaron, and I don't. So is that now Aaron signed this huge deal. And Aaron, again, he is, and this is not a bad quality. It's the reality of being 35, a superstar in America, not married, no kids. You know, you're watching more TV. You're on the phone probably a little more. Is that now that he signed a big a big contract?
This is basically a television contract. Keep going.
But it is really in the NFL. So he signs this big contract, and we're all talking about the contract, and he goes out Sunday and loses, and you're like, well, Tom takes pay cuts. I mean, Aaron's the highest paid. Aaron doesn't need to win to prove me anything, but I do think Aaron senses if I start not winning my division with this contract, people are going to say we can't afford anybody because of Aaron's contract. It's not spoken about, but I think Aaron's too smart. He thinks about everything. Aaron thinks about everything. I think he's got that up there thinking, if I start finishing second and third in my division, my contract's going to become a topic.
Well, I think every player thinks like that. Anytime a guy gets paid, especially when they're the top at their position or the top in the league in this case, you don't want your play to drop, and you don't want your overall team's performance to drop, because you're going to take the blame regardless. It's going to be, look at Odell Beckham. Like, he's having a good year.
Yeah.
But the Giants are poor, and it's like, well, he's making all this money. Why aren't they better? Well, it's only so much he can do. It's in Aaron Rodgers' position, at the quarterback position, it's a lot more that you could do. We've seen it with Flacco over in Baltimore, where he decided, no, give back that Brinks truck up to me.
And by the way, they didn't have a tight end and a good receiver for 4 years after that.
And then they struggled.
Because they couldn't afford perimeter players.
They couldn't afford anybody.
So I just think it's something. All right, 2 topics here. I predicted before the season, I said great television stars, Dick Vitale, Gruden, don't generally have the personalities to be great coaches. And, Gruden caught Tony Dungy's team. Barry Switzer caught Jimmy Johnson's. Ditka, Buddy Ryan. There are times when things line up. You win a Super Bowl. You write a book. You're a star. But to me, Gruden's a TV star. And that magnetic energy, I think, falls flat very quickly with players. I never bought into this Oakland thing. That's my takeaway. He's built for TV, actually. You watch Monday Night Football this year. They miss Gruden. That's not a shot at anybody. They miss him. I think he's more built for television, where I thought he was an amazing analyst. I don't think he's built for the new NFL. Why do you think he's struggling?
Well, when you look at TV, you have to be entertaining. You have to do something. You have to act. You have to portray this persona, perception. You have to be big. You have to be loud. You have to be obnoxious at times. you have to be unlikable. Like, all these things. In the locker room, I don't want any of that. I want what's real. And what's real is not what we saw even in the snippet sit down that we saw with Howie Long, one of our own. Like, they're the haters. Like, what? If all these guys want to be here, if you're getting all these guys, the trade deadline when that was going on was still in effect. Like, you can still, let's go get them. Let's bring them in here. And I just don't see it. Last night, it just looked like, every time they showed him on the sideline, it just looked like he was in it by himself. Like, dude, you're by yourself. Even when Derek Carr would stand next to him, there was really no, engagement. It was kind of like,
by the way, it's a very smart comment by you.
It was kind of like, okay.
This is what I said about Matt Patricia week 1. Matt Patricia may have been on a sideline. Matt Patricia was by himself.
Yes.
Belichick is talking to people. Always people. Last night, John Gruden was on an island.
It was like.
So if I can see that, if I see that, and you see that, what's the room like?
There is no way that you can tell me the players in that locker room trust John Gruden right now. If there is no trust, I'm not going to give you everything that I got. I can't, because I don't know if that's even going to be enough. Are you giving me everything that you got? Are you giving me what's real? You want me to pour all of me to you, but you're giving me this fake, phony substance. I don't want that. Like, just be who you are.
Finally, Hugh Jackson. I defended him this morning. I was told by somebody I trust he did want Carson Wentz, and he did want Deshaun Watson. And he said that. Nobody wants to hear it. I said this last year. He wanted Carson Wentz, and he wouldn't go 0-16 without him, and he wouldn't have Baker Mayfield. So we're all crushing Hugh today. And I'm not saying he's Belichick or Sean Payton. You just think he's bitter?
He's definitely bitter.
Have you ever been bitter?
Of course I've been bitter. When things happen to you and you get a microphone and a camera in your face, you're going to say things that you emotionally, feelings, everything is going to come out. When I left Green Bay,
you were bitter?
Was I bitter? Absolutely, I was bitter. I wanted to stay. Hugh Jackson wanted to still be coaching his team right now, but he's not. And so when I left, of course, now what I said, was it true? Absolutely, 100% truth. Should I have said it?
What did you say?
I said that Aaron Rodgers wasn't the leader that everybody thinks that he is. He's sensitive.
Well, he is sensitive.
All these things that are true, but it wasn't the fact that it was true. It was, why are you saying it now? Because I would have never said it when I was in the locker room. If a reporter asked me a question about Aaron Rodgers, absolutely not. I would have deflected it. No, he's great, man. He's a great teammate.
But you were bitter.
I was bitter, and for more reasons, because I felt like other things had transpired I'm not gonna get into. Not today isn't the day. One of these days we're gonna sit right here. And I'm just gonna share.
There's no day like today, Greg.
There is a day like today. We just haven't experienced it, Joy.
No time like the
Just
present.
saying.
I never knew you to be bitter. You're so likable and fun. I knew you when you were a Packer. I used to tell people all the time at the other place. I'm like, hey, I years ago.